everybody, Colby Mitchell here. I'm really excited today. I'm here with Will Pfitzner at LazerEdge, and we're going to learn a little bit more about him, his company, and what they're doing. So, Will, thanks for having us out here today. I'm excited. We just walked the whole facility, and it was amazing to get to see what you guys have going on here. So, I'm excited.
It's a pleasure for you to come, and we're happy to have anyone come visit Mount Airy and also come visit LazerEdge and see the craftsman shop that we're building here.
Definitely. Well, thank you again for having us out. For those of you who don't know what LazerEdge, they're a custom quality wood-based material. So they build things like these are some coasters right here. I give these out to clients all the time. We've got some ornaments here that they make. And as you can see behind, the custom piece that Will just made for me, this legacy piece that's going to be the backdrop of my production center is absolutely beautiful. So anything from coasters you want for your house to all the way up to large custom pieces, they do it all. They do it all. So one of my biggest questions I wanted to ask you is, what inspired this business? Where did this vision come from? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so if we take a trip back to 2014, I was coming up in my junior year of college.
Okay.
So I went into college and I went in believing I was going to be some sort of engineer, because in high school I was good at science and math. So at least from society roles, you just kind of get pushed into a career like, oh, you'd be good at that. And I saw success as getting a good job, high paying job out of college.
Right.
So I went into college my freshman and sophomore year, and I began to realize that my engineering courses weren't necessarily fulfilling my emotional and my psychological needs. I was doing fine. I was getting through the coursework, but I wasn't getting that sense of fulfillment, and I wasn't looking forward to getting up and going to class in the morning and doing those assignments.
I can understand that.
So my junior year, I moved into this dorm room, this apartment on Centennial campus, which is NC State's engineering campus. And it just so happened that below my dorm room was this place called the Entrepreneurial Garage.
Wow, everything happens for a reason. Funny.
It definitely does.
Yep.
And I stumbled upon that a couple days or weeks after move-in, and I fell in love. I fell in love with the spirit and the emotionality and just the energy that was present in this garage. It was a group of all different majors, different classes, just so much diversity in one place. However, there was a common mindset. There was this common vision that they all believed that they could truly change the world. And it was this pathway called entrepreneurship. I had never considered, and I don't even know that I ever really looked into it, because in my mind, it was always science and math, go be a doctor or an engineer. And then on my tour of the garage, I stumbled upon a laser cutter, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, whoa, how does this beam of energy shoot through this piece of wood?
Yep.
And from that point and that interest, I just found a passion, and I started diving into it, and I was excited to see what we could create.
Wow, that's awesome. Like I said, everything happens for a reason. That room, you saw that little LazerEdge piece. So walk me through your first time seeing that LazerEdge piece to your first actual creation.
Yeah, so my engineering friends that were also in this entrepreneurial garage, they also were interested in the laser cutter. It's cool, it's really cool to see. However, their mindsets, they were starting to think about airplane parts. Okay, let me design airplane wings to try to make it most efficient and test them out on small prototypes. My architectural friends were saying, oh, let me cut the architecture and I can make a structure to display what my building's going to look like without having to invest big money into construction and visual arts, because
Right.
we're broke college students here.
Yep, been there.
Then my electrical engineering friends were using this laser cutter to cut acrylic boards to create like little circuitry boxes and computer monitor stands. And I was over there, I said, you know what? I want to create decor for my apartment. I want to make some cool NC State signs.
Yeah.
And I want to make some coasters. And, I went into the bookstore. I went into the college bookstore, and the stuff in there was cool. However, I would always turn over labels, and it was always made in China, or made in Vietnam, or made in India. And I was like, nothing's made here. And I knew in my mind, I was like, it's way cheaper. Labor's the big one.
Right.
I was like, labor is so much cheaper overseas. I get it. These items that we're trying to sell in stores. But I saw that laser cutter, and I was like, that cuts out labor. I was like, we can make beautiful items, and instead of having to chisel them or use a wood burning tool, I was like, I can create a cool design, and then I can make it a bunch. And so that's when my gears started clicking and said, all right, I'm going to create decor for my apartment, see what I want, and then it just naturally grew from there. Friends wanted signs for their apartments. Christmas rolled around. Everyone was like, Will, can you make me something for Christmas so I can take home to my family? And it just spiraled from there. Yeah.
I love it. It happened organically.
Yes.
You made something that you wanted. It was a problem you had. You solved it. And then other people saw that value that you were adding and came to you. Yep. So the NC State logo, was that the first thing that you ever produced?
Yes. And that's the first thing I was interested in producing for my roommates and I. One of the first things we actually built was a table that we would bring to tailgates, for playing games on, for serving food. And we made a really beautiful oak table, and we inlaid the NC State letters into it.
Wow, that's awesome.
So we started out, because this Mount Airy, this is my hometown. This is like a big craftsman area. And so I know what good furniture and good things look like. And so we were like, all right, we can make this here in our dorm room and through the garage. So we started out making the really complicated, really intense things like tables and really nice wall hangings like you saw out there, the Spirit Lead Me.
Yeah.
But then we started transforming, that takes a lot of effort to make, and the customer base is very niche. Let's find stuff that everyone can buy. Let's find stuff that can be sold in that NC State bookstore.
Yeah.
And that became, selling in that NC State bookstore kind of became my little challenge in my mind of, okay, I see the need in there. I fulfilled the need in my own dorm room. I'm selling to my friends and family. But I want to be on the shelves in that NC State bookstore.
So at this time, when you're making for just you and your friends, and you've had the idea to put stuff in the bookstore, are you making all of this in your dorm?
Yes.
Wow.
Basically, how it worked was go to class, and then go laser cut, and then go outside and do the sanding. I would go set up shop in the mulch or in the grass, run an electrical cord to the power outlets, and just do my craftsman work outside, because staining and spraying finish, can't do that indoors.
Right.
Shouldn't do it indoors unless you have really good ventilation.
Okay.
And they didn't. It was so that's kind of how it progressed. And what started to happen was I started becoming a manufacturing plant in this garage that was built for prototyping and like starting ideas.
Right.
So the administrators of the garage, we had to sit down, and they were like, Will, it's taking a long time for you to run these manufacturings. Other people need to use the machines. And I was always courteous. But sometimes I would run like a 3-hour cut, and someone would come to want to use it. And I was like, it's on for 3 hours, but I'll stop after that. So basically my hours for laser cutting started turning to like midnight to 6, 7 a.m.
Smart.
So I would go to class, and then I would stay up all night. So my sleep schedule just was demolished. And that was a really tough time for LazerEdge, because I was trying to go to class, I was trying to do schoolwork, and I was trying to run production through the night hours, because during the day hours we had to let everyone else from the college use the laser cutter.
And you hit a critical point I think every entrepreneur has to face at some point in deciding with the normal things you have going on in your life, and now this new vision you have for this need that you can fill. So how did you approach that? Did you finish school? How did you time manage better moving forward?
So I think it was about half a semester I was doing that, and then it just got to the point where the first exams hit of that, and I was just wiped out. And so I started really saying, okay, I got to find a place off campus, and I have to go purchase our own laser cutter. So I started looking for used laser cutters, and I found one in the Raleigh community. It was not the best.
Shout out to whoever sold Will that, because you got us here.
Yes, you did, and I am so thankful. And that laser cutter, it always had issues. And at the time, I was hitting my head against the wall every time it happened. but I'm so thankful because it taught me how to work it, how to fix it, and it taught me the guts of it and what it really takes to work that machine and the ins and outs. Okay, so I started looking for that. I found that, and I was a waiter in high school. That was the kickers, because most college students, you're in college and you don't have money.
Yep.
I was so fortunate because we have a great community here. And so I was able to wait tables while I was in high school, and with my crazy high school schedule playing sports, the owner of the restaurant was like, yeah, come when you can. So I'd come every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes on the weekdays.
Funny enough, I was in like the same boat. I was serving and they let me work my own schedule like that. That's awesome.
And the weekends were the best shifts too.
Yeah.
So it was so nice and so much gratitude. So I had that money saved up and I just went all in. I said, all right, we're gonna buy a laser cutter. We're gonna start renting space off campus. I found a maker space that was affordable. And so I'd go to class, and then right after class, I would go straight to the shop. And we had our shop. It was a 5-minute drive from campus.
Wow.
So it was a really cool experience taking it from that entrepreneurship garage to hitting a critical point where I was really sleep deprived, pretty stressed out, and getting pushed to the limits, and being able to work out of that situation and finding this outlet. And not only that, but having the resources, the forethought of being in high school and working, which I would have never thought I would need that few $1,000s for, and be able to have it to push into something that I was really passionate about.
Right. Wow. Great story. So now we're sitting here, you finish up school, you've got your off-campus site that you're building everything from. I know there had to be some sort of like aha moment where you had to decide, do I go even more all in on this? Is this my career path? Is this my life's work? So can you walk me through what that was like mentally for you, making that decision at the end of college?
Yeah, at that point, I started hitting the societal influences of, okay, I'm here, I'm taking these engineering degrees, I'm going to get an engineering degree, but this is really what I want to do. So I really was in this battle of what society was telling me I needed to do and find a legitimate way to make this a profitable business and a sustainable business. So I went back to that bookstore vision. I was like, all right, everyone around here, and I started realizing what brand was. And I said, okay, everyone around me is wearing these little wolf heads on their shirts. They have wolf heads on their walls. They're giving wolf heads at Christmas time. I need to make a relationship with NC State and to be able to use that wolf head. So NC State, shout out to NC State, they have an amazing crafter's license, it's called.
Okay.
So you don't have to get the full licensing that like Nike or Adidas has. It's for little crafters who make a few of something.
That's awesome they do that.
So it's like an in for the crafters, and so we went in through that route. And through that, I was able to start legally producing ornaments and coasters and wall hangings and start posting them online and selling them on Facebook. And then I realized you can't be in the bookstore with the crafter's license because the bookstore is going to sell a lot, more than the crafter's license allows you to have.
Makes sense. So when you had to make a decision on moving the location of production to back home here to Mount Airy, what was that like? Did you debate about that a lot? Were you considering staying in Raleigh?
Yeah, so towards the end of college there, this was still, we were selling a lot of NC State goods. We were making other things. We were making Raleigh. We were making North Carolina themed cutouts. But it was still a hobby at that point because it wasn't a profitable business. I wasn't paying myself. Everything all income that LazerEdge was making was going into more materials, better equipment, better palm sanders, better, stain, better finishes, all of that.
Yeah.
So graduation comes and it's like, okay, what do we do? I now have an engineering degree. Do I keep doing this where we're not making money, or do I go get a high-paying job, which is a successful job in the views of where I was raised and how I was raised? And the decision was kind of a midway point. I didn't give up on the business, but I also said, okay, I need to go get a big boy job, and I need to get experience and do that. So I said, all right, I'm going to move back in with my parents for the remainder until I go start working in corporate America. But I'm going to move this business to a craftsman shop. So I got in with a local craftsman here And he really taught me how to bring the quality from buying wood at Lowe's Hardware to finding a real wood supplier, to the real way to treat wood, the real way to finish it, and basically brought our quality to a new level.
That's awesome.
So that decision to move it back to Mount Airy, because we could have kept it in Raleigh and tried to launch it there, but that decision to move it back here, the community just embraced it. They were like, "Oh, cool! You started a woodworking business. Let's help you. Let's help you bring that quality up." So the community really came around this, and when I went off to school, the community was still around it.
Wow, that's a beautiful thing.
It's so beautiful. And I went off to corporate America. I worked at Deloitte, and we would go to street festivals to sell our goods because we still had the NC State license. We still made North Carolina cutouts, coasters, ornaments, all sorts of really cool stuff. But that was our main source of revenue for while I was working in corporate America.
Wow, interesting. So how did you go about balancing this new job that you were taking on in corporate America and trying to run this major business that you have today?
Yeah, that's tough. And I've thought a lot about that at this stage because life happens and there are expenses. In the current society that we live in today, you need housing, you need food, water you can get free, but you need these things, and depending on your lifestyle. So in a lot of entrepreneurial's journey, they're going to have a certain income that they need to bring in, and that income is oftentimes going to be brought in by an external job. While you're crafting your side thing, while you're building your side business that may not be generating yet, you need some sort of income. So that's I didn't know it yet, but that's what was going on here. I was flying all over the place. I wasn't located here. I was located in Charlotte. Okay. That's my home base. But as a consultant, you fly everywhere. And my project just so happens that every week I was on a plane. I was on a plane to either California, and I lived in Costa Rica for 6 months. So I was not here.
And had a full business operating and running here.
Yeah, full business / hobby shop. We were an LLC, but it was really a hobby shop, and we built up to selling at the Autumn Leaves Festival once a year. And I really had to lean on my family and my community. And every chance I got, I would fly back to Charlotte, make the drive here, stay here for a night and a half, drive back to the airport, and fly back out. But the job that I had was really demanding to where I didn't have much time in the afternoons. It was like you work 16, 18 hours a day, and you're always at your client side. So it was a really tough entrepreneurial journey at that point, but I'm really thankful for that, because if I did have the leisure, I probably wouldn't have made such a dramatic switch when I did in 2018.
Because you had established that work ethic. I mean, it goes back to even when you were in college, doing the college classes and running the business at night, and then having a full corporate America job and running the business after that.
That's a good analogy. Yeah. That is what happened. It was preparation for just the next step of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So walk me through that breaking point, what I like to call your entrepreneurial aha moment, which is when you went all in.
Yeah. So I was super committed. I loved the client that we were working with. Really great experience. I got to see the insides of how these Fortune 500 companies operate, and centralizing data and making processes more efficient. It was really cool. Anyways, that project came to an end. We were successful. It was great. And I began to get rolled onto another project. And I just started over. I started over from the learning phase to flying to a new location. And that was my aha moment that I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so happy when I get to fly home to go work Autumn Leaves Festival or make or craft or design, and I just don't get that same feeling here. And in my mind, I associated it with that same feeling from back in college, from the lab research that I did, the engineering courses. And then when I was done with my engineering coursework and I could work on LazerEdge, I realized that this was the same feelings that were going on. And I associated it, and I said, it's time to jump. And I built a little nest egg. rented one of the cheapest places I could in Charlotte. I didn't spend money.
Which is still not that cheap there.
It was just still not cheap. I was basically in a closet, no bathroom. You know, I had other roommates, little closet, no lights, just basically a bed. And I just said, okay, I have money saved up. I'm gonna move back in with my parents in their basement, no rent, and I can probably live for a year or two with food and things. So I was like, I'm gonna do it.
And you went all in.
And I went all in.
It.
And that's when the real journey started.
Yeah. What were the biggest changes you saw that the adjustments you had to make in your life and in the business when you did go all in on LazerEdge?
Accountability. Accountability just smacked me in the face that everything is my fault.
So arguably my most fascinating question and my favorite thing to learn about people, what is your why? What gets you out of bed in the morning and drives you to do what you do every day?
Yeah, so that's it. It literally goes back to the dorm room of I believed that we could bring manufacturing back to the United States and bring community around a more sustainable lifestyle and more sustainable products. So it became very aware to me in college, and just when I saw consumables and the way that we as a country and as a culture, we started treating things. We'd buy something, we'd have it for a couple years, and then it goes to Goodwill, Salvation Army, or the landfill. And that makes me very sad, because not only are we importing it over here and not sustaining our own economy, but oftentimes it goes to the landfill, and we're just kind of doing this vicious cycle of waste. So I said, all right, let's bring jobs back here. Let's figure out how to employ ourselves and make really good stuff so that it can be passed down to the next generation and make goods that last. And the other reason is that through entrepreneurship, I've realized that it's important to have a system and a schedule. And then you have specific items in your life for specific functions. So almost a little taste of minimalism, functionality. And so I want to create the products that I believe in today's day and age, the majority of our culture needs.
I love it. And back to what you were saying about bringing the jobs here and making it here. I mean, these are the definition of American-made products. You'll see little snippets of us going throughout the whole production facility here. From start to finish, this is made in America here.
Yes.
And I love to see it, and the jobs that you've provided here.
Yes.
And seeing your community come around you and help build this brand.
Right.
I absolutely love it. I love
Yes.
it. So, interesting question for you. Could you tell me the most memorable situation that you've had with a client before?
It started back at NC State. We started going to these in-person festivals. It was called Packapalooza, and then the Autumn Leaves Festival. And it's the experiences as a whole. So I realized that I was getting into technology like e-commerce and shopping online and creating transactions online. However, my engineering brain, which I never took a business course, I never really sold anything, I never sold much in my life. Waiting experience was the closest thing.
And hey, that is a selling experience.
It is a selling experience and a service. You know, we believe sales is service. But it's the in-person interactions as a whole. So I'm so grateful for those, because they've shown us what we need to produce. So the interactions that we have with customers, I remember a lot of them, if not most of them, because those customers and those individuals who asked for different items, they're why these exist. They're why this product line exists and the different designs exist. So as a whole, the memorable experiences are those in-person ones.
Yeah.
And what we're working towards is, how do we bring that feeling of an in-person conversation of developing something, how do we bring that online so that we can manufacture here for not only our city of Mount Airy, but also North Carolina or the United States.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love what you're talking about there, about the customers getting that interaction with you and building that custom piece, because I mean, we got a perfect example right here. I got to work with you and your team firsthand to give you the logo for the business and to generate ideas for how to do this. And it really is a special experience working with them on it and not just clicking, putting something in a cart and ordering it, actually getting the experience of feeling like I was a part of this in some little way.
It's so cool because with technology, we were very via email, but there's now automations that we can use. Everyone has their this on them now. This is not a cell phone. This is so much more than a phone.
The world right there at your fingertips.
It's so amazing, and we feel like we're leading the way for how to combine manufacturing of wood and sustainable items. How do we create that and merge it with technology to create customized, sustainable pieces for whatever we need in our daily lives?
Yeah, definitely. And speaking about the phones, their new phone case that I hadn't seen yet that I'm ordering when I get home.
Yes.
I mean, this is pretty sweet right here. And authentic wood. You can you place this on a charging pad?
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
Place it on a charging pad. It also has a magnetic magnet in here so that you can put it on those magnetic holders like in the car.
Wow. Without having to use the ones that they
Little
give you.
stick-ons. Yeah, it has the little metal plate
Yeah.
in there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love to see it. And one of my favorite things about their products is how long they last.
Yes.
I don't have a single product that I have or that I've given to someone that they're not still using.
Yes.
And I look at them. I mean, my coasters, for example, I used cheap coasters that you can throw away before I had these ones. And I probably went through 4 sets in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe I'll ever need new coasters again. I've got yours, and they wipe right off, and I love them.
We hope to change the culture that when you buy something, it should last your lifetime. Our lives, if you think about the scope, our lives, we're so blessed that we have modern healthcare and modern technology, but our lives are short for the most part. You got 100 years. Can this not last you? Like, we believe that you should buy one set of coasters and you should have that set of coasters. And if we can change the culture around it, we'll stop the manufacturing from other countries because they want to be able to make it as cheap as possible, send it over here, and then it doesn't matter after it's bought. But if we can create a brand and a culture around that and around sustainability, we can change the buying patterns and change it to be made here.
And that's probably the biggest thing I've noticed about their products compared to everything else: quality.
Yeah.
That lifelong quality you're going to get, and then also the customability to be able to do creative things like this. So
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. All right, I've got a cool question for you. What was the oddest request that you've ever had from a client?
Last time it was phone cases. And then the time after that, it was magnets. And then the time after that, it was charcuterie boards and cutting boards. And so the requests, they've shaped this, and they've built the product line out to what we offer. We get asked all sorts of things because the ability of a laser cutter and the ability of a craftsman shop, you can make just about anything. And the odd requests is that we've just been sent things like, for instance, the marble book holders. We don't cut the marble here. We're right now we're only wood, but people have sent us all sorts of things. Say, hey, can you engrave this on this? We'll try it.
Why not? Give it a try. Yeah.
Send it over. So, and at the festivals we get the wonkiest requests, but not worth mentioning here. Just use your imagination on
Fair
the things
enough.
that people would want to engrave. And
So back to focusing on the business as a whole, can you give us a little insight on what your goals are for the year?
we just had a global pandemic, and so we are first off so thankful that we survived that. We hit really rough times. So as a whole, remember we talked about the NC State bookstore. We got the official collegiate licensing to do NC State. In addition to that, we got over 100 other universities too. So we started selling to all the bookstores, all the fan shops, big box stores, gift shops. What happened during COVID?
All that closed.
They all closed.
Oh.
And so LazerEdge's business went to basically zero. And that was another low. I'm getting goosebumps again because it was literally, okay, quit your job. You're on the verge. We felt like we were on the verge. We had just moved in here. We were in a little corner of this space, and then business just dropped.
So right when you move into the production site that we're in now, you just got here, COVID came and hit.
Yeah, we had just expanded. We had just invested in expansion materials, and then this happens, and we said, "Oh no!" And so we kept our cool. We navigated, but it ultimately came to a point where we didn't know what was going to happen, and we had no foresight into when things would get better, and we didn't have our online business built out.
Interesting. So you didn't have the LazerEdge online store at
We
all?
had a LazerEdge website, but it was very rudimentary.
Okay.
It was bare bones. I developed it, engineer, no business experience, nothing. I barely knew e-commerce. My entire attention from that point was on the product. I was doing the lasers, I was figuring out the finishes, how to get the product line perfect. And that's when the shift happened in my head that, okay, I got to start figuring out how to scale online and how to get this product online so that we can sustain things like this. But what happened was I started going into teaching. And I said, okay, I'll keep LazerEdge on the side again. And I started teaching entrepreneurship at the local high school. And then I hit my new aha moment in that and started creating a new pathway for community, for what we really wanted LazerEdge to turn into as a brand and as a culture, because I took all of the aspects that I had done naturally and turned and shaped it around a real curriculum
Wow,
that I
that's
could teach
amazing.
to students. And so it changed the whole mindset and the whole shape and direction
I love to
of
hear
our
it.
business. And so since then, our trajectory for this year is to create a self-sustaining business. So from that teaching entrepreneurship and breaking down entrepreneurship to what it is and breaking down business and forcing me to put the product aside a little bit and focus on business, reshape the business plan, and we realized we're going to do everything in-house. So the end of this year, we're going to have a fully functioning marketing department, fully functioning creative team, functioning IT team, production team, licensing team, shipping
Wow.
team, fulfillment team, inventory team, build out the entire source so that we can take this to the next level in 2023.
Wow, I'm so excited. It's very cool to hear you putting these teams and these systems in place to, like you said, you will be able to, I mean, there's no limit to how much you can scale after you have that stuff in place. So banking off of that, where do you see LazerEdge in 5 to 10 years from now?
We'll be creating many more materials, many more products out of wood, possibly furniture, possibly tables, possibly cabinets. Um, we'll be also offering our services to local businesses. So, for instance, our marketing, we're going to fully functioning marketing team. What we've realized is once you figure out how to build a website and do it all in house, you have a playbook and you can help serve others. And this community of Mount Airy, COVID really hit us, but also the tech revolution that we're in, the tech advancements, they're hurting us, but very slowly, because rural communities such as Mount Airy, they're not taking this as seriously as we need to. We are in one of the biggest shifts, and it's taking place right now, and it's taking place online. And so we hope in the next 5 to 10 years to help build this business out, self-sustaining, expand the operations, build on here, but really use the foundation of internalizing to help the community. Because right now, if you look at a lot of the businesses in rural communities, if they need some help, they outsource it. And a lot of times we're outsourcing it to larger cities or other states. We can do it here. And we can do it through educating our youth. So that bigger vision all happened while teaching entrepreneurship when COVID hit. It's like, oh my gosh, there is a disconnect. Not only was there a disconnect with me for how this business plan was run and how we weren't online
Right.
and what we were doing, we fixed that. But there's a disconnect between education and the workforce in our country and in our state of North Carolina and in our little community of Mount Airy. So we hope that this LazerEdge as a whole can help branch out to start supporting and start nurturing all the other departments that are needed in our community.
the reason that I love that so much is you're not just focusing on you and your brand here, but that you actually want to go out in your local community and help your other businesses establish that online presence and not get left behind, because nowadays you will. If you don't have the online presence and the systems in place to produce online, you can get left in the dust. And I absolutely love that vision that you have to help do that. What are some of the biggest challenges that you foresee in getting there?
Patience. We have to deploy patience. It's all in the works. This entire everyone's plan. It's laid out. It's ready. We're prepared. We have the vision. We have the team. And we as a team, we're unified. What has started in the dorm room with my curiosity and my interest has spanned to a team. So as a team, we need to stay unified. We need to stay positive, continue to be kind to one another, continue to bring the community in, share what we have, share our marketing services, but ultimately patience, because we as a society and we as youth, we like things fast.
Oh yeah.
You know, we like to start from nothing and go to 100 very fast. And I'm a believer that nothing good comes quickly. And I believe this bigger vision of community and togetherness, it's going to take time to build, but I know we have the team for it. You saw a lot of the team in here. They are so dedicated. We are all the right puzzle pieces to help build this. And
well, after
patience,
talking
man.
to you more, I understand why your team is so excited about what you do, because you have a why here. You've got something bigger than just this one piece that you're making, and everyone is bought into that image of what you can do and that vision because they believe in it. And if there's one thing that I want everybody to get from today, going back to what you were just talking about, patience. If you're making the right adjustments in your life and you know the path that you're on, everyone else is not going to be able to see that vision that you have. Everyone couldn't understand that Will would be sitting here today with LazerEdge the way it is. And if he wouldn't have believed in that vision, and even if the success didn't happen overnight, but just continually took the right steps, he wouldn't be here today. And I love to see it. I'm excited. And I've got one last question for you today. It's my most important question. When you're gone one day and your time on this earth has come to an end, what is the legacy you want people to remember that you've left behind?
Selfless service.
Selfless service.
I spoke about my journey at NC State, the engineering degree, LazerEdge. The thing that I didn't touch on was what shaped the selfless service, completely shifted my mindset. Growing up in a rural community, it taught me the small town values. I had those. And working with the Shelton Leadership Center at NC State, it instilled the importance of service and how what we're put on this earth to do is to serve one another and to build. And so I feel this immense gratitude that I was able to stumble into my purpose and what I could contribute to society and to community. And I want to help bring those values and put them in kind of a guide of how we as communities can become selfless servants. This is creating products to go in our homes is just one way that we can serve each other. Communities and each individual, that's their journey. It's figure out how they can selflessly serve.
I love it. I love it. And to bank off that, and I promise I'll let you go, for the younger generation that's watching this video today that is out there struggling to find their purpose right now and they don't feel that they've fine-tuned it yet, what advice can you give them to help them find their purpose?
Do what you love. Do what you love. It's so important. There's a lot of factors in our society that come into play right now. There's a lot of feelings and emotions and influences that you experience, but you spend the most time with you. And you know what you love and you know what you don't enjoy. And so follow that gut. Do the research on how your body works. Begin to, go up here, realize that everything that you do, you're accountable for. You're in charge and no one can tell you to do anything. No one can make you do anything. It's up to you to form your own way. And that's that's how this came to be. And if you talk to the community that we're building here, we're really trying to focus on making sure that everyone's in that place, that they love waking up in the morning. And if we can all do that, this world, all of the issues that we have, that you see on the news and the newspaper, it'll all just level out. These issues a lot of times arise from ourselves and our unhappiness and our egos. So if everyone can just go inwards, do what you love, will make the world a better place.
Definitely. Well, hey, thank you for the time you given me today. Thank you for opening up to us and our audience today and showing us about your production site. For everyone to stay in touch with them, they can go to laseredge.com,
Yes.
correct? And you can see all the different products they offer. You can reach out to get a custom piece made like we did here today.
Yes.
As well, you can check them out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all of which will be here in the description. And go check them out. And thank you for your time today.
Yeah. Thanks, Colby.
Will, that was awesome.